No, we don't have any fancy. I think somebody. I think I do have somebody did produce like a. You're listening to the I'm right, you're wrong, we're screwed. F off. Brent hates everything. I think we got some produced I'm right, you're wrong, we're screwed deals. I just got to find them. I know visually Felix the Cat made some. So when we replay it, they put that up. But I don't know that we have any audio to get you for rejoins, if you will, or opening or introductions. So welcome to. I think we call this. This show could lead to anything. Quite frankly,
it really can.
I mean, you got look at the three pieces of humanity that you got. Look, I mean, this is the triangle of life right here, for real.
We are divergent.
We come in different fucked up shapes and sizes. The only thing that we have in common is that we're all Caucasian. That's it.
Males.
We're male. That's right.
Yep.
That's it. Because we absolutely pretty much have different views. Well, me and Hatley are a lot more alike than we used to be.
Yeah.
Me and you, Brian, are alike. We're probably the least compatible,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
But you like me, and you're my friend, and you're afraid of me.
I have a healthy fear of you, like anybody should.
Yeah. You're not in fear of me for what, like, I'm not going to beat you up. And you're not, and you know that I can't intellectually own you in any way, shape, or form. But you're mad that I do have somewhat of a little bit of a platform that could make some stupid stuff up about you and make your life a little bit rough.
Well, I wasn't.
I mean, like,
I actually
hey.
wasn't. That's not the reason. I
I'm
actually feared
sorry.
you could take a wiffle ball bat to
Oh,
me.
no, you should never worry about me physically hurt. You should be worried about me sending something to your wife with, I caught you with 2 strippers at Oz at the daytime.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Meanwhile, you can't blackmail Hatley. He's the dirtiest guy of all. Like, when are you going to black me with nude pictures of my wife?
I learned from you years ago, tell on yourself, and then nobody can.
Yeah, tell on yourself, unfortunately. Don't steal from yourself, okay? That should be we should actually use that. Anyway, it's me, Brent Hatley, and Brian Matroni, and I've had all 3 of these guys in my life at one time or another for a very long time. I probably met Brent first. No, Brian, I might have met you first.
No way.
No, it was definitely Brent.
No way.
I met you.
You met me in '96.
I met you in 2000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Brian was like 19 when he met us.
I didn't even meet Brent. I met Brent because he was trying to suck down free drinks at my nightclub. And he wasn't even on. I was at 98 Rock and he was at 103.5, and I vaguely knew him. But
no, like 103.5 didn't even really exist yet. When you first got there, they had to do a signal upgrade when they announced that you were coming over.
Right.
So
hey,
when
when they first announced I was coming over there, and you had
Ooh.
Greg Mall. And it was
bad.
And it was a shove down. It was like, listen, Randy Michaels says Bubba's starting December 2nd.
Yeah.
Fucking and remember Scott the engineer was never ever told that he was like you could never talk into him, and Dan DiLoretto. And when the Bubba regime walked in, I walked in and just literally fucking took over.
Yeah, it was great.
And so, but before I got there, like when Marla and Bass, like what was this? Because you were there. What was the scuttlebutt?
Oh, they were. Everybody was freaked out.
Like, what were they like?
pissed.
Oh my God, this motherfucker's gonna come over here, and he does this, and he
does this and this, and then the program director told everybody to get on the air and start slamming you, and the only person that didn't was Big Rig, because Big Rig was like, "What am I new? Like a new company?"
That only lasted a couple of days because didn't BJ or Mark Chase have to call him up and say, "Hey, listen."
It was Mark Chase was like, "Hey, dude, what are you
doing? Hey, dude, I don't know why you
guys
guys are fucking with the guy that's going to be the morning show.
Yeah, what's going on?
I mean, fucking Randy handpicked him.
And then,
can you be a fucking any more of an idiot?
And then the program director quit, and that's how we got Brad.
But did you?
How we got Brad?
No. So do you know that Greg Mall and I had lunch at the old Tex-Mex by the Tanga Lounge?
Yeah.
And so listen to this, Brian. I'm sorry. J-Core Clear Channel buys CityCasters, and now I'm on the Power Pig 93.3, and now the sister company that owns the Power Pig and 93.3 and 970 FLA and all that has now bought 98 Rock. And
the company I was working for at the time. Yeah.
98 Rock. And it was called CityCasters.
Yep.
And the CityCasters management all got fired, and it's Clear Channel was the purchaser, so they put their it was their managers.
Well, it was J-Core that bought us first.
Right.
J-Core.
So I was J-Core. If you were a J-Core guy, you were
J-Core
even more.
awesome.
You were even more sacred. Were you not, Brent? Like
yes.
there were J-Core guys, and there were Clear Channel guys, and then there were CityCaster guys.
Yeah,
Well, first of all, if you're a CityCaster guy, you're fucked.
Well, Big Rig, myself, and Ted we are the three people that got kept from CityCaster.
Well, then you're the three people that got it.
Because we were like, we're on board. You know what? You bought the radio station? Great. Tell us what to do.
I'm an original J-Core guy.
Yep.
I'm an original J-Core guy, and I am the biggest star over at the Power Pig. Like, in the market, Brent, even at that time in 1996, I was, as the nighttime radio guy, I was the biggest personality in all of Tampa Bay.
Definitely.
And the only ones that even gave me a run for my money were Ron and Ron while they were still on the air. But when they went to AM 620, then it's my house.
And then they broke up. They almost got in a fist fight at Universal.
Right. So
on the air.
So it was about they come to me and they're like, "Hey, we just bought 98 Rock." And well, see, I had a station in Denver that was looking at me and saying, listen, you do top 40 radio and you hang up on kids and you tell kids that you want to fuck their moms and, you do all this real male skewing, hardcore guy stuff.
Shut up, your fetus.
But yet you got, and top 40 tends to lean 80-20 women and your show leans 80-20 men. And so but you got a 37 share 12 plus at night, so we don't want to, fire you from there, but you would be a great morning guy on a male skewing station.
Yep.
What, the type of stuff you do is male, not female. So I had an offer. The station in Denver flew me out, and they were gonna make me like their new morning guy. And, but Brent, the thing about it is, they kind of wanted me to be like, Johnny, like Lex and Terry, where you play like 4 or 5 records.
Yeah.
And you just, Whereas I knew if I stayed with J-Core, I could, the Bubba shtick could continue to even get bigger.
Yeah, rather than Mark and Randy and Brad.
And I'd already conditioned this town to know what No Panties Thursday is and Shut Up You Little Fetus and Lesbian Tuesdays, right, and Fat Philly Fridays. And I was already a legend in this town. I just go to mornings here.
Yeah, and within mornings in Tampa, you were going to get coverage.
Right.
Media coverage, because it's a thing. They already know who you are.
Plus, I had so many shady deals already set up in the 4 years that I'd been here.
You had crickets everywhere.
I had whores and I had, anything that I needed. I mean, if I had two friends coming in town that needed, some head, I could call a couple girls up and be like, "Hey, I got a couple of my boys are going to be over. I'll come over to 4002 Gandy at 8 o'clock tonight and suck them off for me."
I was looking at some,
Brent, am I lying?
You're not at all. I was looking at some footage the other day of some old footage of Let Your Chichilla Run Wild. From them.
Oh yeah, when girls would call and be like, "So listen, I got my own limousine company, and I'm going to send my limo over to pick you two girls up to meet me at my condo, and then we're going to go ahead and get crazy at my condo." And what they don't realize is it wasn't my condo.
It wasn't your limo.
And it was hold on. So I was such a good marketer, Brian, that I went to this limo company, okay? And they weren't doing that good. Because they had a big nut. They had like 6 cars, and you got a big monthly nut to cover all of that. You got to keep those cars rolling, right? So I'm like, and the guy's name was Gary, and he broke away from Julie. Remember when Julie had Julie? Yeah. Well, Gary and her were a couple, and then they broke away, and Julie continued Julie's limousine. Well, he had Gary's limos, and nobody fucking knew what Gary's limos was.
Yeah, everybody knew Julie.
So I went to Gary, and I go, "Gary, we're gonna rename your company Love Sponge Limousines, and you're going to pay me $600 a month, naming rights fee, and then we're going to market it on the air. Like you got to tell everybody that drives, you got to tell the secretaries, we're literally, I'm going to have to come in one day to the warehouse, and you're going to have to introduce me as the co-owner in order for this to be a hard sell. Like, we got to hard sell this." And so really, we only had a contract, Brian, that he was going to pay me $600 a month, and I got free limo rides. That's the only fucking contract we really had. But in order for the public to believe, and obviously your workers have to believe. So I would just get the deal was I got $600 a month and then unlimited, like up to 6 limo trips a week, and I would only need like 4. But it was so cool if I had somebody come into to town, Brian, I'd say, I'll just send one of my limos to pick you up, and it'd roll up with a placard that said Love Sponge Limousines. It's cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, don't think you can't get some pussy if they think you own your own limousine company.
Especially in the mid to the late 90s.
Yeah, back when limousines were actually cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
People
God.
would clown you now if you rolled up in a limo, right?
No, it's
Only rookies roll up in limos.
Yeah, we've gotten really away from a lot
Like
of fun.
Vegas is a cool place to kind of still have a limo
So-
because you can party in it.
So
but-
Gary had 8 limos, and we called it Love Sponge Limousines,
That's
and we
amazing.
changed the phone number, and even when you would call the company, Brian, it'd be like Love Sponge Limousines, and so, but I really didn't own the I didn't own shit. I got $600 a month and 20 free limo rides, but as a marketing tool, Brian, it was so cool. And even like bands would show up, like if a band would come and do an interview, I'd be like, I'll just send my limo company to pick you up. What? I own my own limo fucking company.
Oh, I love that.
And it was just a big fucking money. Same with my Bubba's Beach Club down in Ybor City, Brian. Remember how you got to remember Bubba's Beach Club in Ybor City.
Yep.
It was so Ybor City was just starting to blow up. And Ybor City is this very historical part of Tampa. And it's turned into just like, I think every city has like a Bourbon Street, flats, the Gaslight District.
Yeah.
Every city's got
Cool
that
cities.
now.
Yeah.
Like, 4, 5, 6 blocks that are just bars and taverns and places to eat and, boutiques and head shops and tattoo parlors and concert venues and, things like that. I think every town has one of those.
Kind of like a counterculture area. At one point it would have been considered that. Now it's mainstream.
So but within that world down here, there were these grunge bars and there were these, hip hop and nobody had a real beach bar, like where the girls wear bikinis and, it had so I opened up a beach bar. No, hold on. This guy named Mike and Judy who were swingers and and who owned a adult establishment somewhere in Pasco County, Blitz, they needed to launder their money, so they opened up this beach club. And so Mike comes to me, who you remember Mike, remember how shrewd he was?
Oh yeah.
He walked up to me and he was real. He looked like a little Frenchman with his little cheese dick mustache and his little ponytail. And he walks up to me and he goes, "Bubba, I have a proposal for you." I go, "What, Mike?" And he goes, "I'm opening up a beach bar right in the middle of Ybor. It'll be the hottest spot. I'll pay the most for talent. I'll pay the most. We'll have the best DJs. Well, I'm putting $650,000 in decor, and I'd like to name it Bubba's Beach Club. And you talk about it incessantly on the radio, and I'll give you." And I got $600 a week, not a month. Now, if my limo company, Blitz, Brand, I was getting $600 a month. With Bubba's Beach Club, I was getting $600 a week. Plus like a 5% kicker if we did over like 40 grand or something. So, but everybody thought I owned it. Like they would have a staff meeting and I'd come in, act like I owned it and everything. And the only kicker was, Brian, they had to build this, and I was the first person in Tampa to have a nightclub that had a skybox that overlooked the dance floor.
Now those were the days.
Now, kind of like, a skybox at a football game.
Yeah.
I had a skybox that overlooked the dance floor. Blair will tell you.
Those were the days.
Now listen,
you were
so,
Trump before Trump,
Oh,
licensing
fuck.
your name out to everybody and looking like you were super freaking wealthy.
Brent, we should actually do something about this, right?
Oh my God!
These
were the
But hold on, I don't
days.
even know that you even thought that you in the things that we're doing right now that we've even thought about this.
No,
right?
this is a whole thing.
So listen to this, Brian. The guy's like, what? I go, I need you. See that area right there? Get you a permit, whatever you need to do. Put 4 big posts down. Put a floor, and then make a skybox with tinted windows. And I don't want the audience, girls dancing, to be able to see in it. I want it tinted, reverse tinted, so it looked like a mirror from if you were up there, looking. If you were up there on the dance floor looking up there, it looks like a mirror, and you can't see anything in there. And then I want my own bar. I want a small bar, 2 TVs, and I want 6 couches that go right along the glass for guys to be able to watch. So, and then I want its own entrance with its own door guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Sean H with $10 on YouTube.
I would go. I would go and I'd have a two-way radio, and I would say, the blonde, 3 girls deep from the DJ booth, her and her 2 friends, bring them on up.
And we had Mo too.
Yeah,
That we would send down to the
So then the guy would go up to one of my bouncers would go up to the 2 girls and say, "Hey, Bubba and his friends are in the VIP owner's booth, and would you like to go up and meet them?" And they're like, "Oh my God, yeah." So the minute they get in, even if they had like their only 18 bracelets, who cares? I mean, I'm gonna get that bitch drunk. You know, I'm just saying, like. So part of going to the owners, I mean, there's no rules up there. Blitz, we would never. I mean, Brent, we would never survive in the Me Too movement.
No way.
And so the minute they came up, they're like, "Oh my God!" I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Bubba." I'm like, "Oh my God!" And this is Brent. This is Coco, and this is Craig the Bulldog. And there's and they're literally there would be people like Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin. And I mean, there would be people like
One night I showed up there with Zach Wild from Ozzy's band and Scott Ian from Anthrax.
Yeah. So I mean, like for real, like for real.
And we were out partying, and John Christ from Danzig. We were all out partying.
Don't worry about that's Brian Johnson from AC/DC and Jesse Dupree from Jackal. That's them over there.
And people will remember Scott Ian got arrested later that night. Scott Ian from Anthrax, because he went to the Yankee Stadium over here on Dale Mabry and stole the logo.
Oh, Jesus.
So he had to get. They had to get Steinbrenner on the air with Scott Ian to like get the charges dropped from being at Bubba's club.
But you know, you might see Warren Sapp, you might see Brian Johnson, you might see, you know, you might see Chris Gratton from the Lightning.
Well, that's right. Roman Hammerlake.
Hammerlake from the Lightning.
Up there.
Who was the guy that blew out his elbow for the Rays?
Tony.
Tony.
Starts with an S.
I forget his name.
Tony Saunders.
Saunders.
Twice he broke his arm. Pitching.
So I owned it. So and I owned an nightclub, and so you know my whole radio show, Brian would be like, yeah, you know, tonight gonna be at Bubba's Beach Club, gonna have you know, blah 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 blah. And then, you know, then Fabrizi and I found some investors, and we opened up our own ale houses. So I had restaurants and nightclubs, Brian. And then before that, Brian, when I was on a teeny bopper radio station, I started Planet Bubba Teen Clubs, and I franchised those out. I had 7 franchises of those. Where I had one in Spring Hill, and these 2 brothers had a skating rink, and the skating rink was doing real well, but the other half of the skating rink was like a big warehouse. And I'm like, why don't you guys just build a wall right down the middle and offer hip hop, you know, African American rap, you know, whatever the kids are into over here, you know, you can go skating over there. And these motherfuckers were making $5,000 a night. You know, they do $5,000 on Friday night. They would do like a little bit less on Friday night because it was football. So they do like $3,500 on Friday night. But then on Saturday night, they do like $75,000. They do $13,000, $14,000 cash for the weekend.
Wow.
Because it's before the iPhone. It's before video games.
Oh, it's when people actually knew how to go out and be human beings.
And so my franchise,
it was the greatest. You went out and you had an answering machine. That was it.
And my franchise, and I had 7 of those. And my franchise fees for that was $2,500 a month.
What about Bubba Beepers? What was the franchise fee for that?
Bubba Beepers was
Bubba Beepers.
No, hold on, Brent. Bubba Beepers was $25 a beeper.
What?
Yes.
Holy shit!
Oh, I got a one-time $25. They would, you know, fee.
Wow.
One time, and I mean, I can remember back in the day, my Bubba's Beepers checks would be $36,000.
Oh my God!
What were you spending your money on back then?
Whores,
straight whores,
yeah.
Just whores, and then
then
whores for my friends.
Because Bubba would be like, "Listen, it's better to be a consumer. Let's just pay them."
Yeah,
it's better to be a consumer.
Or like I do, like this, Brian. Like I didn't even smoke pot back then, but my boys did, and I wanted them to have a good time at my house. So I would go to a drug dealer and buy an ounce of pot. I go, "Can I get an ounce of pot?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, sure." And like Brian, I literally did not smoke pot, but I'd have an ounce at my house, and I might tell my boys, "Hey guys, I got an ounce of some stuff out back." And they're like, "What?" And they'd be out there just rolling, just getting high as hell.
That was when it was harder to get weed.
We'd be out there baking the weed too, man.
And then I'd be like, "Listen, you guys aren't my friends if you don't get high as hell, and then make some hamburgers for me." Oh, and hey, Coco, see that bitch over there? She's giving me a hard time. Grab her and take her home. I mean, oh my God, we should do a movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so I did, I started out with Teen Club. No, Brian, I actually started out with a fan club. My very first Tampa shakedown was a fan club. And so for a fan club, I found 1,000 of these. Before I got to Tampa, I was in Milwaukee. And they did these headshots of every radio personality used to have like a headshot.
Yep.
Well, the Milwaukee station did had this headshot of me. And I got fired, so they're like, here, you can have your head. They had like 5,000 of them or something like that, because they handed them out at, the Brewers game and all that kind of stupid stuff. And it had coupons from, you had your headshot, then the last little fourth of it had like, coupons for different Wisconsin-based stuff.
Right.
So I just took all 5,000 of mine, took it to a paper company and said, can you cut this bottom fourth off? And they're like, yeah, no problem. They cost me like $8. And then I would autograph them, and you could join the Bubba the Love Sponge fan club, and you'd get an autographed picture and a thank you letter for $5.
I love it. I love it.
For $5. I would go, and so at night I'd be on the Power Pig, and I'd be like, hey, Power Pig, and someone goes like, I want to join your fan club. Get a picture. And I go, P.O. Box 127, Dunedin, Florida. In the station, because I had a 90 share, all these other guys were like, why are you letting Bubba promote his own stuff? Like, they're like, well, I mean.
Well, because we're making a ton of money off of him.
Because he's sold out, and, we're charging $310 a spot for his show, and we're charging $180 for yours. We have 16 availables for your show tomorrow, and we're sold out for Bubba for 3 months. So, yeah.
Deal with it.
What was your you had Bert Smith, the Suzu.
No, Tyrone is Suzu.
But then it became Bert Smith, right?
Yeah, there was Bert Smith.
Yeah.
And I would literally listen to this, Brian, I would call Bert Smith's Suzu, and I go like, yeah, I got like 4,500 on my demo, and you guys gave me a truck last time. I'd like to have one of those rodeos, and I'd like purple neon underneath it. I want big.
Yeah, those were crazy.
I want big souped up tires on it. No, I want big mag tires on it, and I want unbelievable graphics, just real crazy graphics and stuff. Okay, like, okay, Mr. Clem, when would you like to get that? I don't know. How about Friday at noon? Okay, well, I'd pull up Friday at noon, literally, and I'd have like Coco or. I had a guy. One of my first assistants was called Half Breed because he was half. I mean, he was half.
We had Pantera.
Yeah, and I would literally go into the dealership, go see the owner, shake his hand, say, "Hey, man," he's like, "Oh man, we sold 17 Bubba units." So I get on the air and be like, "Man, you need to go to Bert Smith of Suzu, tell them Bubba Loves Bun sent you, get 5,000 off, just tell you right out, all that." And, people would flock and go to these places, and people would buy and tell them Bubba Army. And, the owner would be like, well, we sold 26 Bubba Army units last month. They would keep track. And so they would just keep feeding the monster, making me even more more impossible to live with. So I would literally go and say, Bert, how many we sell this month? Well, we sold 30, Bubba. All right, I'll see you in 2 months, buddy. I get in my brand new, $35,000 SUV. Now, Half Breed would already have all my stuff, my personal stuff, already transferred over. Like my Louis Vuitton and my gun and my and it had it all cleaned out and ready to go. And then we'd hop in. Sometimes I'd make him drive me, and then we would just drive to wherever we were going. Sometimes we'd go to a girl's house right in the middle of the day, like at 2:00 in the afternoon.
They would,
yeah. So it started out with pimping a Suzu's. It went from a Suzu. No, I went from beepers. Brent, don't forget I had Bubba Pogs.
Yeah, Bubba Pogs. What was that deal?
I made $15,000 on Bubba Pogs. This Pog company came to me and said, listen, we want to do a set of Pogs, but these regular Pogs aren't selling to us. I was like, well, do Bubba Pogs. Guido had a Pog and so they're like, listen, we want to have. They had like 75 kiosks in all of the malls that were around, my listening area. And they're like,
They were everywhere.
Oh, Pogs were fun, man. Bombers, slammers.
I know. Yeah, well, I had a
great.
Bubba Slammer, everything. And they're like, I forget what they sold them for, but they gave me, they're like, listen, we can do the accounting or we can just give you 15,000. I'm like, I'll 15,000 pogs. Nobody's gonna play the stupidest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Stupid. So I have to get on the air and be like, oh, I'm playing my pogs. They're the best. Oh God, here's a Guido Slammer. Get that thing. Make sure you trade for the you got the cowhead one. You need to trade that one for the Dig Dug Willie.
So great.
So I went from pogs to beepers to Isuzus to teen clubs to nightclubs to restaurants to then back to nightclubs without my name.
And then
so then Brian, the new marketing thing was, well, listen, you get on the air and you say, go to Bubba's Beach Club, go to Planet Bubba, go to Bubba's Ale House, go to this. But eventually people know that you're just saying it because it's yours, right? I'm like, yeah. I go, but how about if I act like they're not mine and I'm just a consumer? People will really believe it then, because now I don't, so when I owned Sip and Scene and the Lounge, I didn't even act like I owned them. I was just like, hey, Brent, guess where I was last night? There's this new place called Scene. It's downtown St. Pete. Man, that place is unbelievable. I don't know who the hell owns it, but that place is goddamn. I love that place. That's right, Bubba. Scene, that place is awesome. So it wasn't Bubba's Scene. It was really Fabrizi's Scene. But Brian, don't you think that's brilliant too?
That
the
was
fact
smart.
that, like, after you've blown your name, after you've just saturated your name, everything from a beeper to a car, nightclubs, restaurants, and limousines in between, then you own business, but you take your name off of it, and you're just a consumer, and you use your platform to promote it. Like people would think Hunter Law sucked if it was Bubba's Hunter Law. Like they would be like, of course Bubba's going to say Bubba's Hunter's Law is the best. But if it's just Hunter's Law, plus you guys would never be that stupid to give me anything.
Well, we can't in Florida yet because non-lawyers can't own law firms.
Yet?
Is
there some states where...
Washington, D.C. allows it.
Really?
Yep.
So at that point, they get venture capitalist people in here to invest into law firms?
Or you could be a partner in a law firm and not actually be a lawyer. Yeah, you can
just participate
yeah.
in the ownership.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Well, would you even consider me? Would you give me like a point just to be your boy?
If Florida ever changes the rules, absolutely.
Promise me right now.
I promise you
that if you give me a point.
I'll give you a point if it's Bubba's Hunter's Law or something like that. You talk it up like you did back in the day with Scene and all that.
I don't think we make it Bubba's Hunter's Law. I just think we keep it Hunter's Law, and I just talk more about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
For a point.
Yeah,
there you go. I know you guys did about $40 million last year.
Give or take 35.
Brent, what's a point of $40 million?
That was
like it's $400,000, ain't it? That's the way I got figured.
40, right?
Yeah, but
no, hold on.
1 point?
What would 1 point of $40 million be?
$400,000.
Yeah,
$400,000.
Yeah, Hunter Law's the best. For $400,000?
Well, if we start making $40 million a year there, then absolutely you can have a point.
But let me ask you a question.
That's a lot of fucking auto accidents.
I'm not talking. I don't want to mention any names. And Morgan is not in play. Okay?
Right.
What does a big Tampa-based firm do?
A big one, that's advertising heavily and stuff.
And we're not. I don't even want to mention any names. I don't even want to mention any names. I'm going to say a big, and Morgan is on. You can't consider them. So right. Outside of them, what's a big firm number per year for a Tampa? It'd be a whole different number for a California firm. They can charge triple the amount. It's based geographically.
The 20 to 40 million range would be really a solid firm.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think there are firms in Tampa that do 35 million?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
A lot of them?
No, not a lot. Especially with Morgan being so big here. They probably are doing 500 million.
Locally?
Maybe not just Tampa. They do big money. I mean, they're a huge firm.
I mean,
huge.
I mean, they are the biggest firm in America, aren't they?
The biggest personal injury firm in probably
they're in
the
LA.
world.
They're in
I can't
LA.
imagine there being a bigger personal injury firm
They're
overseas.
in New York and New Jersey. I would see John Morgan on.
How many people do you know have John? How many people do you know have John Morgan's personal cell phone and call him once every couple weeks?
Not many.
Just you, Bubba.
I call
And
him.
he's responded to a couple of my tweets. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's cool as hell.
Like, that's pretty cool.
Last time I talked to him was about a year ago, and he goes, "What you doing?" I go, "Oh, nothing." He goes, "You in trouble?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Well, that's a plus." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "What you doing next Wednesday?" And I go, "Working." He goes, "How fast can you get over to Orlando?" I go, "I could be there by probably 12:30." He goes, "There's this neat little Mexican restaurant right across the street from my firm. Why don't you meet me there about 1 o'clock?" And so I'm like, "You want me to come up to the office first, or you want me to meet you just at the?" And he goes, "No, meet me at the restaurant." So I texted him when I was leaving Tampa. That's it. You know, leaving Tampa, approximate, and it gave me like my approximate time. It's literally right across the street from the firm, and it kind of gave me an estimate of when I was going to get there. So I gave it to John. You know, GPS says 1:12. You know, something like that. Do you know I pulled up and he was waiting for me?
Oh my God!
Had a table ready, had our chips ready to go, and everything.
Wow.
And I'm not kidding you, and I'll swear on my son. Bill Clinton called him during our lunch.
Oh, wait. Hey, buddy.
He said,
"What's going on,
Mr. President, I'm going to have to call you back in a little bit, buddy."
How you doing, John? You see any hot chicks lately?
Goddamn, John, thanks for keeping me off that Epstein deal.
Yeah. Well, come on now, party with me.
Come on, party with me. I mean, Brian, to say that John's pretty powerful.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
I'm at the UFC fight in Orlando this weekend. If he wants to hook me up with anything, I'm down for it.
What type of tickets do you got?
We got I don't like being ringside, so we're like eye level above.
No, ringside's, listen, Brent and I will tell you right now, we used to get paid to go.
Yeah.
They paid me $10,000 to go to I don't know how many of the UFCs back in the day.
It's when they were really starting to try to push the pay-per-views.
Right, and we would go once every like 2 or 3 months to the Mandalay Bay, be all set up. They even built us our own little studio and everything. And we went to all the fights. We were like,
Right there.
ringside. And that, you know what, Brian? Ringside's not the best seat.
No.
The first level on the bowl is the best seat.
Yep, and that's what we got.
Because
so
people often think,
see
"Oh,
the
you know, I'm
fight
I'm third row." You're not going to see shit.
It's hard to see.
It's hard. The posts get in the way. The cameramen
Yes.
get in the way.
And the angle that you're at.
Yeah, it's not ideal because when I used to manage the UFC fighter Hector Lombard,
Right.
and I sat. It's funny too. You can tell what the UFC thinks of you and as a fighter by where they put your crew in the stadium.
Oh, I know.
100%. When his first fight against Tim Boetsch in Calgary, where if he had won, he was going to be fighting Anderson Silva in Las Vegas, and he had a boring decision that he should have won, but they gave to Boetsch. We were front row, floor, ready to go. His very next fight, all of a sudden, we're like a little bit further back. By his third fight, we were up in the 200s.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
And then the last fight, he wasn't even allowed in the building.
Yeah. it was pretty crazy the way
They used to tell Hatley and I, "You guys can sit, first, second, third, fifth row," and we did the first time like a bunch of marks.
It was for Anderson Silva and Rich Franklin.
Yeah,
we
like
were
a bunch of fucking marks. We're like, "Man, we're third row, bitch." Next time, we're like, "We'll take the lower 200s, please."
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're like, "Yeah."
At that fight, we were sitting with Rich Franklin and Anderson Silva. We were sitting next to Tito Ortiz.
But Brian, they would let us. We would
Yeah.
walk in when we had all fully credentialed everything. So we would walk in where the fighters did.
Yep.
We would
We had
walk in.
laminates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
Let me tell you
I've
something.
been there,
We had
man.
Billy.
I've been there.
We
It
had
was
Billy
fun.
Vegas. His dad, Billy Vegas, would pick us up in a G6.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking kidding. We should have documented all of this
Oh my
shit.
God, that was.
He used to pick us up in a G6 right over there, by the International Ball in the private area. He'd pick us up in a G6 and fly us directly to Vegas.
Yeah.
Then we'd have to Southwest at home. For real.
You know what though? And now it sucks getting from Tampa to Vegas because they're all fucking red eyes coming back. You used to be able to get 3, 4
Yeah.
since COVID. That fucked everything
so
up.
what's
man.
a typical Tampa? Now you can get there at a decent
You
time,
can
right?
get there at a decent time because you're heading out west. But now it's like overnight shit, like leaving 11 o'clock Vegas time, getting back 5 a.m.
And that fucks up
Tampa.
because you got to have the room for another day, or you got to check out of the room, and you got to be
and
Johnny
dick around
Johnny dick around all day.
Yeah, and then you're getting
That's
back
what
to
they
Tampa.
do it
I
for.
can't sleep on a plane well, so I get back to Tampa exhausted. It's just not. It's not a cool trip anymore.
It's not.
No.
And really, I mean, I don't know. As well as nice, as well HD covered, and as well as they cover it pay-per-view, sitting at home, fucking with your balls hanging out and doing what you want and being able to watch the fight and have a far better experience as far as seeing the actual fight.
Yep.
I mean, because the coverage you get is just unbelievable on a pay-per-view. Other than, I mean, it's not a wonder really TV and how well they cover the NFL hasn't ruined NFL attendance, which is a testament to.
Well, NFL attendance has become for rich people.
Yeah.
It also does well because it's a once a week. It's 8 weeks a year you're committing to, not 8 or 9 weeks a year that you're committing to the NFL. Where other sports, they have too much product.
Don't you think
sell.
this? Don't you think that? And we got. By the way, I'm right. You're wrong. We're screwed. We haven't even got into politics yet, and we have to. But I want to run this by you real fast. I think all Major League Sports seasons are twice as long as they need to be.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, baseball, cut it down to 82 games.
Oh, my God, yes.
Hockey, cut it down to 44 games.
Yep.
NBA, what's the NBA pay? 82 games?
82.
Cut it down to 44 games.
Yes.
NFL, cut it to 10 games like they used to. NFL used to play 10 games.
And then it was 12, and then it was 14.
It's
and
all
then,
about TV money.
I know,
It's all about
I
TV
know,
money.
buddy. But it also it would help attendance, though, wouldn't it?
Well, they don't care about attendance. They don't need a single fan to go to any of these stadiums, and these teams are making money because it's
So you're
all
saying
about
like
the media
Lions,
deal.
they don't need 72,000
No,
motherfuckers. They don't need nobody.
One person, not a single person in that stadium.
Because here's the racket is they take the TV money and divide it by 32, and that's the salary cap. So if you're the owner, you're not even paying out of your pocket for your player's salary. But
hold on. But hold on, though,
cap.
Hatley. Here's the deal. As the team owner, though, that is where you can get your gravy, though, if you are selling out.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. You definitely
that's where
want
you're getting
to
your
sell
gravy.
out.
Right?
You definitely want the place
The
full.
Glazers make probably $15,000 in pretzels.
Did you see how much they're trying to get from Man U?
They're going to get it.
$7 billion.
They'll get it, won't they?
They're going to get it.
They probably will get somewhere close to that. Yeah. Because
what's Snyder got to get for the Commanders?
$4 billion.
Yeah, God, that's insane.
I'm thinking
That's
three
insane.
or
Is
$4
he
billion
is he in
easily.
real trouble? I heard he's in real trouble.
He's been running loose for a long time, and
It's a terrible organization.
and the NFL has tried to protect him, and Goodell
How about
really
the
should
Sun?
be
How
gone
about
because
the
of it,
Phoenix
too.
Sun guy? He got the fuck out too.
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah, the NBA, Adam Silver's a little more stiff in the NBA.
Yeah, they
about,
don't. They've already.
Yeah, but I
got to
tell you this, though,
right?
Brent.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Adam Silver. At any part of my life, I've never found NBA more insignificant. And I'm a general kind of like all sports fans. I mean, I'll even like watch I'll even watch like Wimbledon or watch like the U.S. Open or the Masters on sports that I really don't follow a lot. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'll even watch I'll watch a figure skating match on a Sunday if there's nothing going on.
You're a casual sports fan that'll watch pretty much anything.
Yeah, but I'm into I'm really into football. I'm really into hockey.
Yeah,
But
both of those are
right.
awesome.
But to me, it seems like the amount of enthusiasm the NBA has. Two organizations I've lost the most enthusiasm for, and the one's going to freak you out.
NASCAR. Not going to freak me out.
NASCAR and the NBA are the two that I don't give a fuck about.
So
I
the
agree
NBA
with you on
made
NBA.
a decision to target the younger.
Who did?
The NBA made a
Right.
decision to target the younger urban crowd and international. And
But there's no defense. That's the problem.
Well, the product is straight fucking trash.
Yeah,
The product is straight trash. It is the worst sport out there from a.
Because when you watch the college basketball tournament, it's so good because there is defense, there's excitement, and there's all that, and there's none of that in the NBA.
Well, there's parity. The NBA, you don't even need to watch a playoff game. Just tune in for the last 3 minutes when the teams are actually trying. Like they just go through the motions for
They do.
for 45 minutes out there, and
I
then
can remember
they
this.
actually try the last 3 minutes of the game.
I can remember this in 2018, maybe 19. I think it was 18. It might have been 18. It was Larry's last year with the Pacers, and they had Paul George. I think it might have been Paul George's last year, but whatever it is, Tyler and I went to the PRI racing convention, and the Pacers happened to be in town. So I blew a call into Larry, into Larry's assistant, and I texted Larry first and said, "Hey, can I buy 4?" Because Larry Plummer was in town, so it was going to be me, Tyler, Larry Plummer. It was 3 of us, me, Tyler, and Larry Plummer. And I said, "Hey, can I buy 3 tickets for?" It was the Trailblazers versus the Pacers. And Tyler had never been to an NBA game, and whether you like the NBA or not, going to the game and just seeing how big these humans really are, it's just a whole nother. It's an amazing experience that I've got to see. So Larry says, yeah, no problem. And the one thing I know with Larry is you don't ever ask for free. Now Larry will cover them if you offer to pay, but if I just know you just know.
Right.
So of course I went to go pick them at the box off. They were comped. I said, Larry, you didn't have to do that. And he goes, don't worry about thick. So anyway, the Pacers were down. It was a guard for Trailblazers that's unbelievable. Elia, he still plays for him. For the Portland Trailblazers, he's unbelievable. Who's the best? He's the highest paid guy in the league.
The highest paid guy in the league.
Yeah.
On the Trailblazers?
Well, yeah, the Portland Trail. Maybe this
Damian Lillard?
Yes. Whoever the point shooting guard is.
Yeah. I don't think he's the highest guy in the NBA, is he?
Check his contract. He might be one of the most highest paid guys in the league, and when he is, you guys can suck my dick. I'm being right.
I'm not even saying you're wrong.
I'm not. I just didn't think it was him.
I'm so not
LeBron James.
Brent said he's still pulling for Dr. J. He didn't have so much he goes about fucking about NBA.
Steph Curry is at 48. Okay. Russ Westbrook,
what's
47.
My guy?
Damian Lillard is 6th.
Okay, but he's a $35 million a year guy. And
42.5.
Right. Well, so he was really, really good back then, and the Pacers had Paul George. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this game's going back and forth. It's like a fucking track meet. Just like, there's like, and by the way, we got like 5th row tickets. So like Tyler doesn't even know some of the cool experiences he's gotten to gone to. You know what I'm saying? So we got 5th row tickets, Brian. I'm from me to you from the playing surface. So you can really, really see the game. Yeah. You know how big these guys are. So the Pacers are down. It's into the 3rd quarter, and the Pacers are down 18 points. And Tyler goes, well, we might have, Pacers are going to get their ass kicked. Dad, I thought the Pacers, and Tyler was really into NBA back. He said, I thought the Pacers were far better than this. And Larry, I can remember Larry as an old timer, Larry Plummer, turned to him, said, Paul George hasn't even begun to try to play yet. Wait. And I think Paul George had like 12, maybe 14.
Yeah.
He was just going up and down. Paul George scored, I think, 23 in the quarter, and the Pacers won by 2.
Yeah, that's how they go.
But that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
It's to me, it's super boring.
What 2 sports, Brian, have you fallen out of favor of?
NBA, definitely from when I was younger.
And what is it about the NBA that we all hate now?
It's not as gritty. It's not
right.
It's too so. Okay, well, number 1, the fucking prima donna players.
Yes.
Okay, so they're making too much money. And this whole like maintenance rest days and shit. Could you imagine being okay? You're a ham and egger, right? You're working at the factory. You save up money. Your kid idolizes LeBron James and wants to go see him when he comes into town to play the Memphis Grizzlies. So you work at the factory in Memphis.
Right, making $60,000 a year.
You're busting your ass to get by, making an honest living.
Mm-hmm.
He wants nice tickets to the game. They're $250 a pop. You save up your money. You buy him those tickets for Christmas. The game's February 12th.
Right.
He's excited.
You and your boy are going.
Woo! LeBron James says on February 11th, yeah, I'm taking a maintenance day tomorrow. Fuck your son. fuck the NBA, fuck their maintenance days, fuck their players, their overpaid prima donnas.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, it is. It's,
I mean,
it's
how
a
many
great
times?
point.
Yeah, I mean, like
it happens all the time.
But
they don't fucking care
Larry
about their
Bird,
fans.
Magic Johnson, Dr. J,
Never.
Bill Lambert, those motherfuckers.
Never.
Maintenance day. They'd laugh you out of. The
Never.
only day they were allowed would be mental days, and Rodman had them.
When you, yeah.
They
but
call
he
it,
still
they call
played
it
in the
load
game.
management. Load management.
Yeah, load management. Loads to the
But
face.
you're right. So the guy in Memphis just basically, I mean, you just fucked that
Right.
guy.
He
Yep.
just fucked his kid.
Exactly.
I mean, and him.
And even if you watch like the series about the Lakers on HBO, you
I
can
do
see,
like it.
You can see that Magic and Larry in there took their jobs and that whole thing 100% seriously.
I got to tell you right now, from that documentary that what was that called? It was
called Showtime.
yeah, and it was kind of loosely it was about
Jerry
Jerry
Buss. Yeah,
Jerry Buss. Have you seen it, Brian?
I haven't
it's
watched
so
it.
good,
Brian.
It's so good.
Brent's the one that turned me on to it, and I was like,
Because I know, but I knew that you'd remember basketball from back
Brian,
in those days.
you would
yeah.
fucking love it, just because Brian would love Jerry Buss on how much of a fucking
John C.
flim.
Riley.
He was a flim, like Brian. He flammed the fucking Lakers like he didn't even have the money to buy it.
Awesome.
He went and
You gotta
flammed
fake
people.
it to make it,
He
man.
flim-flammed
You gotta-
it.
He flammed it clear up until they almost took it away from him, and then he flammed it again.
So,
He
so,
flammed his own mother to take it.
so here's
And then he had his mom doing the books, and she was cooking them, and it was crazy. Remember his mom cooking the books?
Smoke burning down the house with cigarettes.
Guess-
And,
But
Real-
she'd be
real
cooking the
quick.
books where she
Yep.
put fake numbers in and all
Yes.
kinds of shit.
Oh, that was
real
the best.
quick. Take a guess. How many games did Karl Malone miss from 1985 to 1998?
So it took about 13 years.
Yep.
Five.
5. You fucking nailed it.
Five in 13 years.
and
So
these
that's a
prima-
game every 2 years.
And he was playing the low post. So,
yeah,
that's
pretty much
and
a game
that-
every
yeah.
2 or 3 years. He
and
missed.
Karl Malone's playing a brutal part of basketball.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
The-
this
the
is
big-
physical. This
Right.
is
You're not Stephon Curry, fired him from 34 feet with no
And
interaction.
he still played 18 seasons.
Right.
And
His second to last season in the league, 39 years old, played 81 games.
and that's with John Stockton feeding him the ball
Yeah.
on the low post like
Show
almost
me
every trip.
Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan. Show me Michael
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah,
I mean,
the biggest name in the game, right?
the best of all time. I
Yeah.
mean, listen,
That
I love-
30 for 30 about Michael Jordan is
like
awesome.
Michael Jordan, like.
So he hurt
First of all,
himself.
I'm a Larry
Bird
Bird fan. I'm a Larry Bird fan. I know Larry Bird, he's my friend, but if you're going to be intellectually honest, Michael Jordan's the greatest there ever
greatest
was.
of all time.
You ready for this?
And I'm a Kobe and Magic
You ready
fan.
for this? This is his career. 82, broke his leg in 85, can't count that. So every game in 84, every game in 86, every game in 87, missed one game in 88, missed no games in 89, missed no games in 90, 2 games in 91, 4 games in 92.
As he's getting older.
Yep.
That's just that.
But he made the effort.
And hold on. And here's the difference because we have to get moving on.
Yeah.
That's when in that era where you had a Larry Bird, a Magic Johnson, a Michael Jordan, a Barkley, a Shaq. When
Yeah,
you had
James
when you had
Worthy.
those guys, James Worthy, that didn't miss a game, that
Nope.
played through the hurt.
You have to chief. You had-
That's when in the NBA was at its strongest.
Yep,
Now you
Robert
got
Parrish
yeah,
out there, man.
yeah, Robert, Bill Lambier,
Bill Laimbeer.
Bill Walton,
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. Like those teams were.
Akeem Olajuwon,
Oh, yeah,
Well,
Hakeem the Dream.
And the pressures there in the-
David Robinson.
yeah, the Admiral. Think how many seasons he played.
Yeah, 1,000.
in the NFL, the pressure's there too. They can't come off the field because the NFL stands for not for long, and so you come off and you just lost your spot.
Yeah.
right?
Ask Don
Because
Mikowski that. You should know that too.
I
the
know all
Magic
about it.
Man.
Yeah. So
Brian would be full time if he wouldn't have bowed out during an injury.
Yep.
COVID was a small little injury, and he took some replacement time off.
I'm a bitch just like the NBA players.
But I wanted you to be my Thursday, Friday guy.
I know.
Did you know that that's
And you
where
have
my
no
head
choice
was?
now but not to do it. So
But what I'm saying is, did you know that was where I was going with that? Did you know that?
I had a feeling.
Yeah, and you said no.
I didn't really, but yeah.
Yes, you did.
I mean,
Bob.
I sort of did.
Yeah.
It was extenuing circumstances.
I understand. We can.
Yeah.
It's easy to say that now.
I mean, it was easy to say it then too.
So anyway, listen, we only got like 45 more minutes, and we got to talk about this World Cup thing first. Brent told me I don't pay attention to the news much, but Brent said that there's a big whodunit in the World Cup deal because America beat Iran, and now the Iran government's going to kill everybody.
So,
I don't know what's going on with it.
So America.
By the way, is it really that big of a feat that we did beat these guys?
Yeah, it is. It's huge.
I mean, it's
huge. I mean, nobody expected. A lot of people didn't even expect the United States to move out of the knockout stage.
It's tough to beat a team in soccer when you're playing against a team that only needs to draw you.
Yeah.
So that's the difficulty. The U.S. and Iran are very close in terms of their world ranking and their skill, but when you have to win a game, when you have no choice but to win to advance, and the other team they advance if they just force a tie, that is a really hard situation to be in. Really hard situation.
And the U.S. won, and the Iranian players. And here's what kind of was illustrated on the world stage for everybody to see. Is right now there's protests going on in Iran, that's unheard of because women don't want to wear the hijab on their head. They want the freedom to wear whatever they want.
Women are even allowed not to want something now?
Then, women, oh my God, they're getting killed. This woman got killed in police custody for not even wearing it. She wasn't even not wearing it. She was not wearing it correctly.
They've murdered thousands of dissidents over in Iran this
year.
year.
So the players in the first game, while they were playing the Iranian national anthem, were not singing the national anthem in protest. That was a protest, and people think, oh, that's not a big deal. Oh, yeah, it's a huge deal for them. So they got called, and their families got called and said if they continue this protest, that they're going to start arresting the players' families that play for Iran. So,
and when they arrest you, you don't get out. That's the thing. Nobody sees you. You get murdered.
You never get seen again.
Yeah, you get murdered, and they're he's.
They call it an arrest, but it might as well just be taking a leg.
Yeah, it ain't good.
Yeah. So it's crazy, and it puts in a political sense, it puts liberals in a really weird position because liberals defend Muslims and Islam at every turn, and here they're saying, well, the hijab is not a choice; it's something that's forced on women in this country by a theocracy. They're protesting it, and it's not racist to support these women who want their personal freedom, and even the people in Iran. The people of Iran, not the government, the people of Iran love the West. They love the United States. They love us. They want to be more like us. If you looked at the women in the stands during that game that were Iranian fans, beautiful, gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, that one woman was...
there was tons of them.
She was a smoke show.
I need to go over there immediately.
They actually, they're in their streets, they were celebrating the U.S. defeating the Iranian team.
Yeah.
They were shooting off fireworks because they
Does that get them put on the list?
They view it as the government's team. It's not the people's team. It's the government. It's the Shahs. It's not them.
So then United States Soccer put out a list of the rankings, and they didn't include the Islamic symbols and the Iranian flag. So the Iranian government tried to get us kicked out of the World Cup based on the FIFA rules that we didn't put their correct flag up.
Isn't it true? And if I'm wrong, then completely correct me. But when Saddam Hussein was around, wouldn't he sometimes he'd be watching the soccer team for his country play, and they wouldn't do so well, and he'd have his cocoa and Craig the Bulldog go out there and shoot the guy right there in the middle of the field?
I don't know if it was in the middle of the field, but there have been stories about him taking nail guns to people who screwed up and things like that.
A guy let one go as a goalie. Next thing you know, he's getting his hand amputated at noon in high square. I mean, is that not?
Let's face it, Bubba. If you had continued on the path you were going and became a leader of a country, a dictator, with who you were back in the 90s, you wouldn't have been too far off from Saddam Hussein.
Don't pin that on me.
I'm
friend,
just saying,
please.
if you knew you could get away with whatever you want with impunity,
get out of here.
Get out of here, nothing.
I thought I could, and then when it call back up to me, now look at me.
Well, it called up to Saddam Hussein too.
Yeah, true. I mean, I'm still doing a tad better than that motherfucker now.
Exactly.
I mean, although supposedly, Brent, when we did get fired from 98 Rock, they did call me that they said the regime is finally gone.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Wow.
Because remember, I had him building I was talking about this on the air today. I was trying to tell Anna, you don't understand. They built me my own office.
Yep.
Inside the area, and it was nothing. I would literally have girls meet me there at 10:05 to blow me.
True story.
Am I right?
True story.
Yeah, literally.
Purple shag carpet in the office.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I would be like,
I was in there. Pea cups everywhere.
and she was like, well, I said, there were rules for other people, but they didn't apply to me. I had no rules.
Oh, no. That was insane. That Rock Barn was nuts.
There was no rules. I just walked around and did whatever the fuck I wanted to. For real.
I remember the time.
Got to the building at 1 minute till, and I left it 1 minute after. Did I not?
You did. You did. I loved the Rock Barn back there because we were back there away from everybody.
We were. And you know what? They built the Rock Barn because remember I threw a fit and told them I wasn't working in Feather Sound anymore because these guys are assholes. I told Scott Miller one day there's this engineer.
Oh my God.
Brian, there was this engineer and he was his name was Scott Miller, and like everybody was afraid to
can't talk to Scott.
Scott Miller. So I'm over at the old place. I'm over at
an engineer had that much power there.
Oh,
for some reason,
this month. Oh my God!
So I go.
He was the worst.
I said, "Hey, Scott." We were in between. We were on the air and we were doing commercials. And he walks in. I said, "My phone won't work." And he goes, "Well, we'll figure it out after the show." And I go, "Well, no, I'm taking phone calls now. Check it real fast." He goes, "I'm not checking it until 10." Brent will tell you, I literally picked the phone up and I threw it at him. And I said, "Now you got to fucking fix it." And I'm calling Randy.
And then he wouldn't fix a microphone one time. You smashed it with a hammer and threw it out into the hallway.
Right. I said, "You got to fix it now."
Crazy.
Bitch. One time the FBI came, remember, thought we were counterfeiting.
Oh, my God.
But you totally wouldn't have been bad if you were the dictator of a country.
That was so funny.
I wouldn't have cut the goalie's hand. I wouldn't have cut the goalie's hand off for missing.
Yeah.
Listen, Jerome,
over here.
Listen, King Bubba says that you're no longer going to be the goalie here, and he wants you to live the rest of your life in sorrow so that everybody sees that you're the guy that let one by. So we're cutting your right hand off, buddy. Okay? No hiding that. So when everybody sees you at the bar, we're like, "Oh, that's that motherfucker that let one by, went through."
That was crazy. You were just, that one time you talk about the Secret Service, you were just saying that you were putting a Bubba dollar bill in the vending machine and they showed up.
Print the stories. All right, so we got to move on. I got to get another topic. DeSantis, Trump. Now, I know you two probably have a whole different mindset than I do, but here's my mindset, is I'm kind of right. I mean, more so than you guys. And I like DeSantis. And I liked Trump. I liked Trump until I started liking DeSantis more. And I think, in my opinion, Trump kind of looks like he's jumped the shark a little bit. And he looks, to me, desperate.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Here's a guy that, I up until, I don't know, a year ago, up until Ronnie D nailed COVID, I would have probably been more of a Trump guy. I think Trump's kind of a joke now.
And Ronnie and Governor DeSantis, he nailed COVID on multiple levels, and he's shown that he's competent, he's got a record, and he's a winner. He was the biggest winner in the election. The biggest winner in the country.
Him in the state of New York. Those are the two spots.
So Brian, what happens in the party?
Well, so
what's going to happen in the? I mean, is Trump's GOP deteriorating daily?
Mitch McConnell indirectly denounced Trump the other day. They were talking about anti-Semites and Nazis. How you shouldn't have lunch with them. And,
well, no kidding. There's day one stuff.
Well, I think Kanye kind of trolled him. I think Kanye got him because Kanye brought Fuentes along with him to that lunch, and I don't think Trump knew he was going to be there.
And well, he probably didn't. But first of all, if you're Trump, Kanye's clearly mentally ill.
Right. Well,
so why are you having lunch with a mentally ill person?
Well, because he's very giving of his time, and we all know that about Trump. No, because they have some deal together and they're working on something together. But McConnell came out, and indirectly said, "Look, we can't have people going around having lunch and dinners with, anti-Semitic people and blah, blah, blah." And then they're like, "Well, what about specific?" He's like, "Listen, it doesn't matter. All the way, top to bottom of the party, we can't have that." So he's already starting to, for the first time ever, publicly push away from it.
Yeah, because they feel like they have Ron DeSantis, who can carry the flag for the party. And Ron DeSantis proved in Florida, which is a state, if you're a Republican,
Dale Roop 25 on the Cash App at the Bub Army. Sorry, go ahead.
If you're a Republican and you don't have Florida in the primary or the general election, you're screwed. And Ron DeSantis proved he can win Florida, he can win it big, and he can get independents to vote for him in a place like Dade County.
So let me
That's
ask you a
huge.
question, and this is a question for both of you. How is Ron DeSantis perceived, let's say, like in Indiana? Or let's say like in Texas or Missouri or some of these other conservative states that obviously went Trump. How do you what do you think? I mean, we're kind of backyard dog with DeSantis, right? I mean, we know far more about DeSantis than anybody. Than if you lived in Missouri, and even if you keep up on the GOP, you don't know as much about Ron DeSantis as we do.
No, and the people that like him around the country, they kind of like his brashness. But we kind of like here in Florida, we like what he actually does.
But is he as popular in those states as see, we automatically know that he's popular because he is where we live. But as a guy living in like Gene Lasker would say, Des Moines, Iowa, does he know who Ron DeSantis is?
He's aware of him, which is all you need at this point because he can win the nomination easily.
He's aware enough to know that he's done some good stuff and he's on the uptick right now, and that Trump's kind of looking like a loser.
Yeah, the fact that you know his name is enough. Like as long as you're familiar with the name, that's a good starting point.
So what do you think right now, if this is the buzz on DeSantis, what do you think are the Trump people telling him the truth? Or are they all just...
You can't tell him the truth.
I mean, are they saying, Donald...
It's the emperor's new clothes, man.
We probably shouldn't run because it's just we're not going to win.
You get fired for even telling him that.
He likes sycophants. You need to tell. There is no in his world.
So he's like the spoiled little 9-year-old nowadays.
That's all he's ever been because he is a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis has been in the military. He's had people to answer to. That's why he carries himself the way he carries himself, and Trump carries himself the way he does. He's never had any discipline. Like Ron DeSantis had to go to Dunedin High School and had to go through college and the military, and he's had he hasn't been able to just get his way his entire life. And I think that is the huge issue psychologically, not politically, psychologically with Donald Trump is he's just used to getting his way. And he talks about how good of a deal maker he is. It looks to me like DeSantis is one hell of a deal maker and can get things done a lot more efficiently.
So what happens does Trump just get beat in the primary?
Yeah, I think
does DeSantis not run in the primary? I saw a poll right now last week where it said Trump beats Biden by 2 and DeSantis beats him by 9.
Yeah,
and I don't even know that either one of those are true. That's just what I saw.
I think DeSantis can beat Biden. I'm not sure that Trump can. And you got to think about this. And I think DeSantis and his people know this. In 2012, Chris Christie made a huge mistake by not running and going, I'm not ready yet. I'm not going to run. He had owned New Jersey. He was looking great. And then he decides, I'm going to wait till 2016. And he waits till 2016 and Trump comes along and steals all his thunder.
Yep.
He had the momentum.
Window, yep. You got to take it.
He got to take it. And him going, I'm not ready and this and that. That cost Chris Christie his political career. He's toast because of that.
And the Beachgate. I mean, he had.
I was there. So I was living in New Jersey.
What was Beachgate?
Toll Road Gate.
So I was living in New Jersey for the beach one. So he was in a fight with the New Jersey state legislature over the budget. So for July 4th weekend, he shut down all the parks. So I'm living in Jersey City at this time, and I lived right next to the park where it's Liberty State Park, where the Statue of Liberty was. That's why I used to go walk my dog. So they had fences up all around these parks. People in New Jersey are nuts. They were just like, okay, you're going to put a fence around a public park where we go with our dogs and kids every day. They just smashed them all down. But that beach,
as solid New Jerseyans do,
solid New Jerseyans.
Right. So they're like, "Fuck your fence. We're knocking it over.
We're knocking it over, and we're continuing."
And you can't arrest 100 of us.
And then it became thousands of people.
Right.
So then there's a private beach that he made it private because it's a state park. It's near the governor's mansion. He shut it down to everybody, and him and his family were out there by themselves that July 4th weekend. Well, meanwhile, a helicopter where the media flies by and gets a shot of his fat ass sitting on the beach.
Like a beached whale.
And while everybody in New Jersey doesn't have access to the beaches for July 4th weekend. So he leaves New Jersey with the worst, in the history of New Jersey, governor approval rating.
I think it was down to
ever.
like 12 or 20%.
Yeah, people
For
were
real?
pissed that weekend.
Oh, yeah.
That July 4th weekend where he closed all the state parks. Now you got to think people are working in Manhattan, people are working in Philly. You're like, hey, this is a 3-day weekend.
You live in the shitty Northeast, and you have a chance to go
to the
away.
beach for the 3-day July 4th weekend,
Yeah.
and the governor shuts it all down. And not only does he shut it all down, but only his family is on the beach with him. Woo!
Oh, yeah,
People
you're
in New
fucked.
Jersey were hot about it.
you're
man.
fucked.
Oh my God, they were
Because
hot
he was
about it.
so well. People loved him.
Yeah, they did, and
he was a rock star, right?
Yeah, and he won his 2 elections like big time. And then once he did the whole shutting a lane down on the bridge to punish a mayor that didn't endorse him, and then he pulled this stuff with the beaches, people completely, and I was living there, they melted down on him.
Because New Jersey's not New Jersey is, when it comes to state politics, they're not super blue.
It's purple.
It's a purple state when it comes to state politics. Now nationally they go for Democrats for president, but at the state level it's not. You don't have the ability to have that amount of leeway to fuck around and find out.
No.
If you're in a state like New Jersey.
No.
And he was a very moderate,
well-liked,
well-respected
yeah.
Republican. But
And
yeah,
you would think
missed
that
his
he would
window.
have more sense than that. Like somebody,
Right.
like he would say, if we're going to shut the beaches down, the last place I'm going to be is at the beach. I'm going to be at the governor's mansion, just fucking laying low.
He didn't think
Right.
he'd get caught, or he thought he was above it, or he didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
It was one of those three.
but it fucked him.
It did.
No,
it really
no,
did.
no.
That photo
You know
on
what
the
I've been-
front page of the New York Post screwed him.
You know what I've been seeing a lot of, and I don't know if I can play it because I'll get a copyright violation, but I've been seeing a lot of stories saying this is Newsom's, because obviously, Gavin Newsom, you guys feel that probably going to be the Democratic nominee. Some people say that he's done very well in California. It's the first time the state's ever had a huge, or the largest,
largest surplus in the history of the state.
But I've been seeing a lot of footage of how bad the homeless tent problem is.
It's bad.
And in L.A., in Sacramento,
San Francisco is the worst.
In San Francisco, and it looks like little Haiti. Quite frankly, I saw this one story, and it was comparing DeSantis and Newsom, and obviously it might have been maybe a soft pack Republican deal. I don't know, but just from what I saw, it showed you 5 very prominent places in LA, like San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles.
Well, that's not LA. Those are different places.
No, I mean Sacramento, California. They showed you 5 different affluent, downtown areas of California. I think it was Sacramento. I think it was San Diego. I think it was San Francisco. I think it was L.A. And I think it might have been like Santa Monica or something. I don't know. And I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was, no matter how it was edited. These people are living in filth. It's downtown areas that used to have boutiques and eateries and kind of like what downtown St. Pete looks like now.
Yeah.
And it just has these people that are living in vans and dogs hooked up to people's trailers. And then it said there's really not any of those areas in Florida.
Yeah, and
so it went and tried to it found a couple little homeless cells in Miami, and it found a couple in but it's not near as bad here as it is over there.
For a couple of reasons.
Do you think that's going to be I think that's going to be a huge election issue if these two square off.
There is, because what Newsom's going to point to is he's going to point to, I got a surplus and we have the most tech revenue in the whole United States.
Right. And then people are going to say, exactly. Why do you have...
The income gap in California
is
massive. And the unemployment there is massive because he bungled COVID.
The cost of housing is impossible. That's why you have so many homeless,
Yep.
because the
you
housing
have people with full-time
so,
jobs living out of their cars in California.
It's absurd.
So
it's absurd.
That obviously is not as bad in Florida as it is over there.
Right.
You've got homelessness issues
do?
everywhere in every major city. I can take you into downtown Tampa and show you where there's some nasty areas. I can take you to St. Pete and show you where they've had tent cities that they've tried to tear down. And
but
not
not near what they got.
No,
over there.
everything in California is bigger, and in the problems are bigger. The wealth gap is bigger because it's too big of a state. It really should be three separate states.
But hold on, Brian.
all day.
The other thing is though. A lot of reasons why these tent cities are starting in these downtown areas is because of California's COVID problem caused these shops to be closed. A shop that's open that me and Brent own, when we open it up in the morning and there's two guys in a tent, we're like, hey, buddy, you need to get your hell off of our sidewalk. Coco, get them off our sidewalk. Yeah, well, if you don't own that business anymore because you had to shut it to COVID, now Tent City starts popping up.
That's a huge problem, coupled with the income gap in California.
California definitely went too far with the COVID.
And that's why these places have these large areas of downtown, because these business owners don't have, they're not. If you had Johnny business owner that one was kicking the guys out or two calling the cops every day, then that eventually that subsection of sidewalk area wouldn't have a tent on it, right?
Correct.
And if you got three businesses side by side, or four businesses, which is what about almost a city block is, now you've completely cleaned up that city block just by not having to have those people closed.
Yeah, you have a morality crisis when states like Florida and California have such a large surplus, but yet still have people that live there suffering. You got a problem that you've got to fix and find a better way to use your resources. But I can't. I haven't personally seen it in California. I've seen the videos of it, and like you said, how much do you take to be exaggeration versus how much is this everywhere? And it's it certainly seems to be, and it's amplified right now how bad it is over there.
I can't play the audio, but I can show you guys the video. I think you guys can see it up on TV right now. And I wouldn't want to go to the beach
No.
I wouldn't want to go to that beach. If you and Caitlin wanted to go to the beach this Saturday, Brent, are you going to go to that beach?
No.
I'm not. I mean, Brian, are you taking your family to that beach?
Yeah, no, we're not going near them, that's for sure.
Right. And it shows you, again, these are different areas. And let me...
Yeah, it's...
See. The one that I saw was in San Francisco, and it was just, it was so bad.
San Francisco's gotten really bad because all the big tech revenue there and the people that are making tons of money have driven the cost of living there through the roof.
I mean, like a studio apartment is like $3,000 and $4,000 in San Francisco. It's insane.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this is a very hyper local, not very global, but our governor, Ron DeSantis, which we've spoke a lot about today, as the governor has the power to remove a state attorney. Now, the way the Florida works is each county has a state attorney, and they're the highest-ranking lawman. They run the court system. They decide who gets tried. It's
an elected position.
Right,
it is elected.
It's an elected position. And Andrew Warren won two elections ago, and this was going to be his second term, or he's in his second term.
He won.
He won his second term, and he's the state prosecutor here. Now, he is Democratic. And historically, this position has been Republican.
Yeah.
And
but the guy before him was so bad.
Oh, the guy before him was this guy right here. It was this guy.
You said your office deemed it a crime, but in fact, a jury determined that it wasn't a crime, correct?
Well, we can get very philosophical if you choose to. The jury verdict says not guilty.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't say innocent.
Brent, I don't want to expound anymore, but I hope that's going to be used at a later date.
Oh, 1,000%.
So this was the guy
Multiple times.
So anyway, Andrew Warren was our state prosecutor, and during the Roe v. Wade, big whodunit, he was part of several other state prosecutors within different states that were on a chain or an email chain or something like that, stating that he wasn't going to prosecute women for getting an abortion. And now, nobody in Tampa ever got non-prosecuted for this. There was
no cases ever brought up.
There wasn't a case ever brought to his office about prosecuting or not prosecuting this particular situation. But he did make a comment as to, his opinion of it and what he would do. Well, that supposedly was enough for our governor to remove him as, the attorney, the state attorney here, and now that is going to court. It starts today, correct?
It started, I think, earlier this week.
Yeah, I think yesterday
Monday.
or the day before.
Now, will DeSantis have to be there? Or does the governor that removed you have to be there, or is just his counsel there on behalf of his ruling?
Yeah, I don't think he actually has to be there. He may have to testify.
And so, one, do we know how it's going? And two, I don't want to get into whether we agree with it or not, because I think we all, even though we like DeSantis, thinks it was kind of a boss hog and chicken shit move.
Yeah,
it's not right.
It's not. He's an elected official, and like it or not, I'm sorry that you don't like the system, but the system is, and we've had to live and die by this, prosecutorial discretion.
Right.
That's a thing. Like prosecutors get discretion on what they charge or don't charge.
I would have a little more DeSantis, a little bit more on his side if indeed there were 3 or 4 different cases that were similar to this, and Andrew Warren just let him go. I'd have a little more, be like, okay, I got it. But there were none. It was just basically him blowing off, like him just giving you his opinion. And since when has that been enough to get you removed?
It's not. And it's not. And
it should never be.
And how many times have there been obvious crimes and many that we've pointed out?
What's up, Dawn? Saying hi, my girl Dawn, on Facebook. Dawn H.
That have not been prosecuted.
So,
and they don't even have to give you a reason.
Nobody freaked out when when state's attorneys say, "Look, we're not going to prosecute weed offenses anymore because it's ridiculous and it's a waste of time."
We're not going to prosecute a guy who
resources.
set a van on fire and hurt a captain of the fire department, and the lieutenant governor is recommending third-degry arson charges. We're not gonna go ahead and prosecute that either because that guy's wife works for me.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that goes. It's prosecutorial discretion.
So Brian,
there's really nothing you can do.
Where do you think this ends up?
I think Andrew Warren's going to win and get reinstated.
You do?
Yeah.
Does anybody take in consideration who appointed the judge? Like, you got to look at that kind of stuff.
I don't think they want this set as a precedent where a governor is going around and removing people at elected officials.
Brian, what I'm saying is this: no, we don't want to set that precedent, but you do have to you do have to take into fact who appointed the judge that's currently presiding.
Now, is it if it's a state level judge? That'll be somebody that's elected.
Federal,
it's
and
federal.
It's Hinkle.
Oh, okay.
Is the judge, and he? Let's see here.
It's very important. You may not think it is.
Oh, it is. Definitely.
Trust me.
Let me see who appointed.
It's Hinkle. It's on the federal level, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be on the state level?
The state level, those judges are elected. So.
Because it's a federal issue based on what I guess. His Andrew Warren suing over. So it's Bob Hinkle in Northern District of Florida. He was appointed by Bill Clinton.
Oh wait, come on, Bob Hinkle. What do you got for me?
Oh, hold on.
I got a judge for you.
Yeah, you know that's how it goes.
Oh wait, come on, Bob.
Oh wait, hey Bob.
What do you got for me?
Hey Brent, you be Bob and I'll be Bill. Okay. Bob, you there?
Oh yeah.
This is Bill. How you doing?
Hey, Mr. President, how are you?
Man, how's that job working out for you? You know that much for that job there's for life, Bill.
Well, I mean, I'm really into being a federal judge.
I know, man.
You're
Bill,
untouchable.
Hey, Bill, let me tell you something. You got something coming across your desk here next couple of days. It's that Andrew Warren DeSantis deal there. Could you go ahead and take a real good look at that one and just maybe kind of realize that that man was an elected official. He got voted in by the people of Hillsborough County. I just to me, I think that's kind of important. What do you? Well, anyway, Bill, that's how I feel about it. And I hope you and the missus do okay now. Okay, buddy?
I hear what you're saying. When you're in town, let me know. We'll set something up again. Private dinner.
Brian, you don't think stuff like that happens?
All the time. I know it does. We've seen it happen.
And that happens.
Yeah.
And Mr. Hinkle goes, by verdict is for Andrew Warren.
Yep.
Give him his job back.
Yep.
Sorry, DeSantis. And DeSantis really can't do crap because guess what? Federal judges are real. At the end of the day, I got news flash. Federal judges are what run this country.
Oh, yes.
Federal listen, we can put it's a big fucking whodunit on the Supreme Court level as to who has the advantage, 5-4, 4-5, 3-8, whatever the fuck. But the federal judge, who has is there a do they keep score on how many federal judges were appointed by whom?
Oh, Trump had a massive. McConnell did a very good job of blocking Obama's judicial nominees at the end. And so what that led to
is Trump having a whole bunch of them?
Trump having a whole bunch, and they got them all through.
And for all you Democrats that are mad about this, you can blame Chuck Schumer because he made a deal with McConnell to fast track them through there. So so if you Democrats are upset about this,
look,
then Chuck Schumer is your guy to be pissed
and
at.
you should be. You should be mad as fuck. But let me tell you something. Policy is determined by the federal judges.
Yep.
Because it all goes to them. Every state fucking thing goes to them. Every federal thing goes to them. They determine they have all the power in the world. And it's a big game as to who appoints them because they're appointed for life.
For life. No election.
And they retire when they want to.
Baby.
And you know what? One guy might be 80 and be like, I think it's time to wrap up. And then the party will come in and say, Jim,
you got to wait.
Jim, you got to wait.
2 more years until we take back the...
No, I really want to go fishing with the kids now. Jim, motherfucker, you've got to wait 2.5 years. Then we got a chance to get our guy in the office, and then we can put another guy like you in there, Jim. Or do we want a guy like, fucking Ron down the office, who, that guy?
You would have seen Ginsburg retire if they didn't think Clinton was going to win.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how you
but
know.
That's the thing is,
but Ginsburg fucked him.
Yep, but that's the thing is you can't gamble on that.
You can't.
Ginsburg, that old fucking bag.
When the window is there, you have to take it. You have to be an opportunist in this world, especially when it comes to the world of politics.
Yeah.
That's why, while Obama was there, Ginsburg should have said, well, listen, let me get out of here while Barack can still throw somebody like me in here.
Yep.
But instead they're like, oh, no, Hillary's going to win, and it's not a big deal.
You're talking about somebody
Hillary's showing a +7 now.
There was no guarantee at the end, though, because McConnell blocked a nominee for almost a full entire year.
Yeah.
Okay? And that, to me...
Is McConnell a dick?
He is.
And he is in charge of the government.
I don't agree with it.
Where's he from?
Kentucky of all fucking places.
Bluegrass.
People are like, oh, we're going to beat Mitch McConnell. I'm like, yeah, the people of Kentucky are going to give up their power. Okay, you're going to beat Mitch McConnell on what planet? Not this one.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
He goes until he's done.
Brian, will you look on your little Google machine there or somebody to see if there is a federal judge count of like Republican appointed versus Democratic appointed, like what the statistics are? That would be interesting to know.
Yeah, and
on my federal court, Clinton, my judge was Whittemore, James Whittemore.
I got
to tell you, Brent, he was a Clinton appointee, and he was fucking straight fair, right down the middle.
That's what you want.
We won some and we lost some, but the ones that we won, we knew we should have won, and the ones that we lost, it was a hope and a prayer.
Right.
The guy, and that's Brian in the perfect sense of a judge. That's the way it's supposed to go, right?
Yeah. As of July 19th, 2022, of the 179 Court of Appeal judges, 91 were appointed by Republican presidents, 81 by Democratic presidents. Out of the 13 federal appeals courts, Democrats have appointed a majority on 7 of the courts, where Republicans appointed a majority on 6 of the courts.
How about federal judges in general?
Like trial level.
Well, I don't know if I can find like that.
That's just on the appellate. Those are just the motherfuckers that are hearing the case after the real motherfucker heard it.
Yep.
Right?
It's all about what that trial judge lets through or not.
So
yeah. It is.
So
because that trial judge at the end of the day, Brent, he's got an appellate motherfucker on the backside, doesn't he?
Right, but the appellate motherfucker can only rule on what that trial judge lets through and what's on the record.
You want to hear how much McConnell blocked Obama? Obama was in for 8 years. He appointed a total federally of 42 judges. Trump was in for 4 years and appointed 51.
Yeah,
but the Democrats slowed him down in once he lost control in 2020. So much so that now Biden's gotten through 75.
If somebody
term, he's gotten more in one term than any president, even 2-term presidents that came before him.
But that's because McConnell's not blocking it.
If somebody put a gun to your head and said you had to fucking give me an answer, or I'm killing your entire family, you can have Biden for is it 2.5 more years?
Yeah.
Biden for 2.5 more years, or you can have Barack Obama or George W. Bush fill in for the next 2.5 years. who would you take?
Well, W's a war criminal. Obama's a war criminal, but I'd still take.
I didn't make it easy for you, asshole.
I would absolutely take Bush or W. There's no way I'd want Biden to be. I don't want Biden to be president anymore.
I know. So who would you take?
Obama.
Okay, you take Obama. Brent, who do you take?
I'm taking Obama. I think because George W. Bush to me is in my lifetime the worst president.
He still holds on to the lie that he wasn't told that bin Laden was trying to attack Americans.
I was never told that.
He says, "Oh,
I was told about that new salad
bar." It was in the August 6th presidential daily brief.
I only thought it was overseas. I only thought it was overseas.
The headline of it was like just the January or the 9/11 Commission asked.
Dick Cheney told me otherwise.
Asked Condoleezza Rice what was the name of the briefing. She tried to give a weird answer. No, he was like Commissioner Benveniste was like, no. What was the name? The title of the briefing, she was like, I think it was bin Laden determined to attack in America. He was like, thank you.
All right, next question's this. If you have an opportunity to pick any president during our lifetime, starting with JFK to now, to finish out, now they could be dead, to finish out the 2.5 years that the bozo that's in there now doing, who I think I think a lot of the sexy answer is Ronnie Reagan.
I think if you let me go back to JFK, although that wasn't in my lifetime, but I can go back to JFK, I would take JFK.
Yeah,
I think I might take JFK too.
If you think about this, JFK did a few things that were great, but the one thing that he did that
was fucked over Traficani.
Well, he did do that.
I'm sorry,
but that was a mistake. But the one thing he did that was great was he avoided a nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And you start firing nuclear weapons and radiation starts getting into the atmosphere, we're all done. So he bucked the generals, he bucked his brother, he bucked everybody.
And he fucked Marilyn Monroe.
Wasn't his brother kind of a little dickhead?
His brother was a dick. Everybody gets upset about Joseph McCarthy in the House Un-American Activities Committee, but nobody realizes that Bobby Kennedy was part of that. The whole communism, and we need to take people's jobs away.
I'm not trying to say that Bobby Kennedy taking a lick from Sirhan Sirhan was a good thing, but he might have been a little dick of a president.
He was a dick, and this is what an idiot he is. He instead of building a case against Carlos Marcello, who's the mob boss in New Orleans at the time, he has the guy picked up, and he just drops him off in the jungles of South America. Well, Carlos Marcello makes his way back to New Orleans. So Bobby Kennedy, he was a brat, and he was a rich, spoiled brat, and he thought he could do anything he wanted, and in or outside of the law, and he was.
So you're
not
saying
his brother.
Carlos Marcellos, the guy from New Orleans, the mobster from New Orleans, that Bobby Kennedy hated, he just had him picked up and
in
then
a cargo plane,
and dropped into the middle of the fucking Congo, wherever the fuck,
the jungle in South America,
as punishment that he would never make it out. And so you're saying Carlos, the resourceful mobster that he is, got his way back to New Orleans, and he hired a man named Sirhan Sirhan?
Well, I'm saying that, like, you start messing with guys like Carlos Marcello, you better have a realistic plan.
Yeah, you better take them down, and you better protect yourself at all times.
Because these guys aren't playing games, and they have balls of steel. So if you fuck with them, they've got to, even to hold on to their position within the mob, they've got to strike.
We were talking about before the show started. We're kind of wrapping it up here. We got like 5 or 6 minutes, but we're talking about how I guess Aaron Rodgers made the announcement last night that he would work with the Packers if the Packers were officially eliminated. He would work with the Packers and potentially benching himself for the rest of the season to see where they stand with Love.
Not benching himself, but if he was asked to take a step back.
Yeah, he would.
He's not saying I'll sit out if they want. He's
not saying I'll sit out and I'll make the call. He's saying if the Packers make the call, I'll work with them.
He was asked,
right?
Yes, the question he was asked was, would you be willing to? And he said yes.
And so I think that shows a couple things. I think it shows that Rodgers actually knows that he might have a PR issue on his hands on what he may have done. And 2, this is certainly a nice gesture. And 3, it shows that he intends on staying with the Packers. Well, I think it shows
he has
this.
60 million reasons to go back to the Packers.
I think it shows it that let's get Jordan out there doing good so that my team can get something for the guy, which might be a fucking wide receiver. Right?
I mean, get a 3rd-round pick for him would be a home run at this point.
I tell you one thing, the Christian Watson guy's finally panning out a little bit. But, I mean...
Yeah, he was injured all preseason. People forget. And when you don't have that rapport, that camaraderie, that that trust between a quarterback and a wide receiver, it's really tough to do well in the NFL.
I know people think I'm crazy. I think the Packers could win out.
Oh, you're crazy.
I think the Packers could win
no
out.
Fucking scenario.
I think
no scenario.
I think they got the Dolphins.
I think it doesn't happen. If there's your first loss right there.
You got Lions. You got the Bears this Sunday. Then you got Dolphins, Lions, Vikings. I think that's it. How about the Packers getting fucked? Like their bye week isn't until next week.
That's terrible.
Week 14.
That should not happen.
That's wrong, Brian. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, because strategically, man, that bye week really helps teams tremendously.
I could see them going 3-2 over the last 5. They could be 7-10.
Will that make the playoffs?
No, not even close.
It's going to be
NFC East
9 and 8. 9 and 8 is going to make the playoffs.
Probably, yeah. 9 and 8 is probably good.
And the
enough.
Packers. I don't think the Packers. What are they right now? 4-6.
They're 4-8.
Oh, they're 4-8.
Yeah.
So
they can't afford a single loss to have any hope.
And Dolphins are going to be tough.
The Dolphins. I mean,
Brent, don't you sit over there and act like your Saints
on
or
Christmas
anything
Day.
Well, the Saints are terrible. The Saints have an issue. We got the Red Rocket.
How about the Bucks? How about the Bucks losing to the Browns?
It's pathetic. It's inexcusable.
Is it Leftwich?
No,
or is it Bowles?
And they lost. They lost Christian Wirfs.
I'll tell you what it is. It's players not playing their hardest. Mm-hmm. Mike Evans is out there going through the motions, man. When something happened, something was said to him when he stood up for Tom and got suspended. He must have felt wronged or slighted or something, because that guy is out there half-assing it. He clearly,
and he's one of the best ever.
He's either secretly injured. Now, I know he took a lick to the ribs about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but this has been a multi-week problem. He has been underperforming for a while. He looks disinterested. He's not making the extra effort for balls right now. It's his stats are way down, way down.
I heard Brent's wife's making extra effort for balls. Sorry.
She does, too. Amazing.
Evans was targeted 9 times against the Cleveland Browns. He had 2 catches. Chris Godwin was targeted 13 times. He caught the ball 12.
So
Rashad White was targeted 9 times. He caught the ball 9 times.
So what happens?
I don't know. You don't bench him because he still draws good coverage and everything, but something is going on there. He is either severely hurt or he is just not giving a fuck, because nobody on the Bucs.
Does Brady come back next year?
No.
He's done.
Not with this team. Not with this lineup.
Not
in Tampa.
If they finish ass bucket up like they're doing.
Yeah,
right.
I mean they're going to win this division because there's no way they're going to lose.
Gibbs High could win this fucking division.
Maybe.
No, they're good. Their schedule.
They just lost their best offensive lineman, and they're already in trouble.
They finish against the Cardinals, the Panthers, and the Falcons.
Last topic,
and they have the Saints this week. I think they're okay.
Last topic before we leave.
They lost to the Browns.
Last topic before we leave. The Kitna kid from University of Florida, the backup quarterback. Is he a quarterback?
Yeah.
And John Kitna's son. John Kitna, former NFL journeyman, I think with the Seahawks mostly. Bengals, but it's his son. And what happened now?
He got caught. So he was reported sharing child sexual abuse photos on a website.
It was Discord, and somebody tipped off the Gainesville police, and they went and confirmed that it was his device. And he said, the direct quote from law enforcement from the report is, "I found it on the internet. I didn't think it was illegal." So then when they searched his devices, I think they found 3 or 4 other photos depicting child sexual abuse.
But nobody said what the age was of these underage people in the
child. It's underage.
Well, that's anywhere from 17 to 0.
Yeah, I don't think he was sharing naked pictures of a 17-year-old girl. I think
maybe though. Maybe
it could be.
You don't know.
I'll hold off judgment.
Complete
judgment until then.
And he's 19, so if he's got pictures of 16 and 17-year-olds, that's different than having pictures of 12-year-olds.
It's a shitstorm in Gainesville right now.
It is.
Isn't
it's
it?
a huge shitstorm.
The understanding I have is that it's not great, but we'll find out what it is.
Yeah, I'm just every article I read yesterday, I couldn't find
what it was,
what we're talking about.
But him saying it's very damning when you say, "Well, I found it on the internet, so I thought it was okay."
Well, then the final topic, and that is my boy Deion. I think Deion stays at Jackson State. I think this whole past couple of weeks has been kind of testing the waters for when there's a sexier job. USF, Colorado, Cincinnati is sexy, and there's a lot of possibilities. But in a year or two, there's going to be a Texas A&M, Gainesville. There's going to be, in a year or two, sexier jobs in these three.
Yep.
And he's already, like he could basically name any of those three would take him right now at $525.
If Lane Kitten is getting $9 million out of Ole Miss, are you kidding me right now?
He did a great job of using this opportunity to test the waters to see what he can get out of programs.
Right.
How much were they willing to give
and
up to him?
And how much of a fucking feeding frenzy it becomes on just him coming to town.
Yep.
Every town, Colorado, Boulder, and Cincinnati, and Tampa, every major sports writer was insane, and there was Deion sightings and him flying into, he was at USF. He did fly privately into USF this past weekend. I'll tell you that. I know that.
God, that would have been amazing if USF could have gotten him.
Awesome.
But I'm more for the Gators.
It would have been fucking game over, Brent. Because at this point, man, now Deion owns fucking recruiting.
Yep.
Alabama suffers.
Yep.
Georgia suffers.
Well, not just that.
Yep.
2024.
Yep.
The college football playoff appears that the Rose Bowl has already signed a contract agreeing to it that it's going to expand to 12 teams. That makes USF a very, very desirable
and he goes in and turns USF
AAC.
around. He goes in and turns USF around. Then. And
they built the stadium. 3 years is all he needed to be here. 3 years.
And then guess what? Then you are a $12 to $14 million a year guy, and every program in America wants you.
Well, and he's untouchable because what he really wants and what he was trying to see with USF is how much control can I get out of them? How much leeway?
I've been told by very, very reliable sources that one of his demands is he runs all of football.
He wants to be Dabo and Saban.
And you know what?
He's not going to get that right now.
He'll get it.
But he tested the waters. He knows where he can get that. And now he has to make the decision, do I think I can get it if I just stay at Jackson State? And I still think I don't know that Texas A&M is going to take a chance on Deion Sanders. I think they'd be foolish not to. But I would have already, they have so much money there. I hear, $95 million. That is,
but hold on.
Those boosters wipe their ass.
But hold
$95
on.
million.
But for Deion to sit a year, and then let's say he goes, 13-0 next year too, because he's getting the recruits. I heard one issue that nobody's reporting this, but I did hear one of the issue that the NCAA is freaked out on is when Deion leaves, every one of his teammates are going to enter the portal and try to go to the new school, and there's rules within that. How there's a ton of rules that we don't even know about in this whole portal world.
There's only a few of those guys are good enough to get to the next level.
But they're all going to try. I mean,
he'll tell the ones. Listen,
but hold on, you don't understand.
You're coming with me. You're coming with me. You're coming with me.
I'm telling you this as a knowing Deion as a person, and when he gives you his word that he's going to be your coach, it means something to him. So he would leave a certain amount of these 40 or 50 guys that he gave his word to that he was going to be. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, he's freaked out over that aspect.
Yeah.
He's old school like that.
Well, he's going to have to get over it if he wants to move up because he ain't taking half his squad from Jackson State to any of these teams.
I think this year kind of threw caution to all players moving forward. This could potentially happen. If he were to do it this year, he sprung it upon the guys. But now, if you enter his program, you have to know, hey, this guy could be going somewhere, right?
And I think
he wants to see his initial recruiting class through their junior year.
And I would love to see the Gators give him money and control the football program. And I think that he in the facilities there.
He would bring back the days of Urban Meyer.
And Spurrier.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
he might even exceed that because Spurrier and Urban won't have the NIL deal, and they don't have the recruiting deal.
Nope, and he's from Fort Myers.
And they didn't have portal back then.
I mean, he's from Fort
Remember
Myers?
back in the day when you wanted to transfer, you had to call the head coach, you had to write you a letter, you had to write the other team
for a year, or you
now
had
you
to
just literally just go, shall we play a game? And you just literally sign on and say, I want to go fucking here, I'm available.
You have to apply for a hardship waiver, which was total politics and bullshit.
Yeah. I think Dion was being where he's from.
I saw him tweet yesterday saying, man, I've been looking at the portal daily. Hit me up. I'm not hard to find.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, what other coach can say that? Nobody can. When do you guys want to do this again? We got this one. People, I love doing radio with you guys.
It doesn't even feel like work.
How about I don't know. Does the 22nd work for you guys? Or do you want to take the entire month off?
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to be on the 22nd.
Let's take the entire month off.
And we'll come back in January.
As needed, okay? Plus, you and I probably got a lot of work from now on.
Oh, we do.
Brian,
a lot of something else.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Bob.
Tell my buddy Tom Bean I'll be over there later, okay?
Will do.